Okay, so here we are for the final for my Developing Worlds class with Brother Wilson. And so you guys have viewed my website on Ecuador just a little?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, and so what did you think was the most interesting thing about the website?
I thought the pictures were really interesting to look at and see.
There's a lot of really pretty landscape, and in fact the Galapagos Islands is where Charles Darwin did like his famous like finches study.
Really?
Oh, I've heard about
That's
it.
pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's like the like whole Darwin's Island, and it has like this Darwin's Arch. But the funny thing is that island is not actually the island he visited. In fact, that island is like, because of its size and its location, it's unavailable for human visits.
Really?
Oh, snap.
Oh gosh, that's cool. I didn't know
It's
that.
just kind of a little interesting fact. So, how about you, Lindsay? What did you think was interesting?
I like the pictures as well. I liked the collage on the. I didn't look at it like super good, but I am a very visual person. So if I can see something, that I can make a connection to the
Like
what
the
I'm actually
little,
learning.
the little heading there with like the flag and some of the homes and. It's cool. Awesome. Oh, and sorry, didn't do introductions. So this is Lindsay and Katie.
Okay.
Okay, so in our class, we were talking a little bit about the flat world, or not a little bit, we spent a lot of time discussing the flat world and globalization. So do you guys know what globalization is?
I've heard of it, but I couldn't describe it to you.
So there's 3 levels of globalization. There's on a personal level, which is like a level 3.0, and that's like using the internet. Then there's more of a business level, which is like 2.0, which is actually like a step lower. And that's just like having international companies and having like global partnerships. Like in Ecuador, there's a micro-lending company called Banco Finca. And the micro-lending is basically like, so if you had $20 that you wanted to help out somebody with, you can do that, and then it helps like entrepreneurs, like small businesses, like say somebody wanted in a developing country needed to buy a cow. She could get like $10 to buy a cow, and then that cow, with the milk she gets from that cow, she could buy more cows. And so it's just small increments to help people with things. And then, see that's 3, 2, yeah, 3, 2, and then level 1.0 is more of just like the head of the country kind of thing. To where like just the having your like the United Nations.
Oh, okay.
And like national treaty or international treaties to kind of unite the different countries.
Nice.
And the goal is to reach a level 3.0, which is like the internet and social media. We all know what social media is.
Oh yeah.
You know, Facebook, yeah, Twitter.
My Gmail.
So the goal is to get everybody
Internet access.
to use the internet.
Right.
Okay.
Like there's some countries where internet access is either unavailable or it's available but it's severely restricted.
So they're trying to open that up.
Mm-hmm. And I just kind of want to go back to how we were talking about the micro-lending, small amounts. And in class, we did something called the developmental dollar.
Okay.
And what it is
Yes.
we came into
Yeah,
class
doing this. I didn't know that.
and everybody had $1 on their desk. And there was 3 conditions for us for spending this dollar. And Brother Wilson had to know what it was spent for. And it had to help our country, and it had to help us.
Okay.
So an example, like, I'm not exactly sure yet what I want to spend my developing dollar on, but I know I want it to be within educating, because educating is a really big issue. And you educate people, and they can do so much more than just giving them some superficial, Band-Aid approach.
Right.
So what I'm wanting to do is I want to give you each your own developing dollar.
I didn't know we
Oh.
paid for this. I'm so
And
surprised.
your 3 conditions, the second 2 and 3 are the same, but the first one, instead of Brother Wilson has to know, I have to know.
You have to know, and it has to
And-
help me
And
and Ecuador.
Just
Or
any
anybody
developing
else?
country.
Any developing country.
I picked Pakistan.
Like, oh gosh, I don't know.
And so another thing we talked about was the Millennial Developmental Goals. And like one of them is educating, which is why I think educating is like one of the most beneficial things.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
I'm an education major, so I took a Pakistan class. That's why I said Pakistan, and we talked about how the girls in Pakistan aren't getting educated like the boys are because they think that the girls are like not as good and stuff. But there was like this quote, I don't remember where it's from, but it's like, you know, you educate a woman, you educate generations. You know, and so when they're restricting those girls from going to school and just being able to just go to school, you know, do the school thing or whatever, they're not just affecting the now, they're affecting the future.
Right.
So
There's that video you have on your
The
website.
Wendy Wu.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how, like the girl who couldn't go to school because they couldn't afford it, and their parents were like, why would we waste the money on your education when you're going to be in rice fields?
Yeah.
So they got the donations, and she was able to go to school.
And change your village.
Yeah.
See, women are powerful.
Exactly.
Educate
And
them.
that brings up another one of the Millennial Development Goals, gender equality, which, I don't know, I kind of thought that every country had equal rights for women's before I started this class. I guess just because growing up in America where women are like dominating like the education, really close to like being the majority of the business world, I kind of thought, I don't know, I just kind of was used to women being involved in everything, and however many women we have in Congress and the government. So that was kind of a new thing for me, is finding out that there's like still countries where, you know, like the brothers are like well fed but the sisters are like starved.
Yeah.
And like in China, like you could see the results of their one child law kind of thing because people favor the men.
Yeah.
So, which, I don't know, doesn't that kind of baffle you guys?
That is, I won't vent on it, but yeah, it's just so bizarre to me that they would think that women are not as good, like just because of their gender. And obviously that's not true.
Like bringing in some of the perspectives that we talked about in class, like the celestial perspective. You know, like men and women have different roles, but yet they're all equally important.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to function in society with just women or just men, but, and I'm not like a all woman power type thing, but I still think that, you know, even just like the little things like respect, like respecting a woman, you respect a woman different, you know what I mean? Like you just, it's just a known thing, like, so like I kind of was the same way when I got into the Pakistan class, and I had no idea that education was like that, and you know, like that it was so like girls are not as good as the boys, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it was kind of a different, because like the perspective we take on as a U.S. citizen is like we're used to women being just as equal as guys in society, so it was just kind of a big shock to see that there's still people that, and in fact even in my history class we were, this last chapter that we've been studying is like on Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, and like in 1969 I think the first like women were able to go to universities, and then like in the 70s the first dozen women actually finally graduated, and they were like really taken aback because their names are not on the commencement announcements because just their women are like really suppressed. They're a very male-dominated country.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I was just thinking how, you know, the United States, it's just, I guess from like a gospel perspective, you know, are we allowed to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the perspectives, like the different lenses bringing in.
Okay, from a gospel perspective, you know, we know the United States is like the chosen land and everything. I just was thinking about like, I mean, I'm not a big history person. I don't know a lot about history, but just like how women's rights have evolved and like how quickly in the United States they've evolved, but how in some other countries like Ecuador and Pakistan, how they're still, Saudi Arabia, they're coming, but at a lot slower pace. And so it's just interesting to see that progress in from the United States to, other countries, just knowing that this really is the choice land. So.
And talking about how, like, we're advanced and there's, like, others taking the steps that we've taken, that brings up another thing we talked about in class, how, as a U.S. perspective, we feel like almost like a need to help other countries.
Right.
And we were kind of talking about some of the right and wrong ways to help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't just go in and say and push our values upon them because we've had to work for this.
Yeah.
Like, this brings up the education again. You got to...
If they don't work for it, they won't appreciate it.
Exactly. And we watched a video in class a couple days ago where they went to this developing country and they had problems with good soil and they had sanitation problems, like how to take care of human waste. So a couple of Americans went there and they opened up their business where they set up community toilets, kind of thing, where it filtered out the liquid and then they would store it and let it sit and become fertilizer, and then they used it again on the fields. So
it's about promoting independence, not
exactly.
You teach a man to fish. What is it? The quote.
Teach a man to. No, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish, you feed him for life.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good things that we can go out and help all these people in these countries and stuff, but what is going to be of most benefit to that country? And we also have to look at our own country too, because I've heard other countries have poverty. The United States has poverty too. We've got to be able to take care of, we can't just go out and help all these people if we ourselves are not taken care of first. And it's not in a selfish way. It's just look at ourselves. If we don't have the resources to help other people,
then helping them isn't gonna do anything.
Yeah,
exactly. On the first day of class, we were asked this question: why were you born where you were born? So, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that question? Why were you born where you were born?
Why was I born? Well, my mommy and daddy were here. But probably, originally, my family way back in the day is from Germany. They came over here probably for freedom reasons and religious rights. So that's probably why I'm here, is to have those freedoms too.
Okay, and so where do you think you were born where you were born?
Any perspective I want?
Any perspective. Okay, Katie took the historical perspective.
I'll take the gospel perspective. Okay, I was born where I was born. I was born in Louisiana, and I've lived in Georgia, and then I now I'm from Mississippi. So I've lived in the South my whole life. And I think that I myself have wherever we live, we have perspective. We choose to react or just kind of be numb to the people around us or whatever, So I just love the Southern culture. It's it's fun. People are just they're just pretty straight up and there's just a mix of people. You got African Americans, some Mexicans. It's heavily African Americans, and so I really love those people. They have a special place in my heart. I'm just So but I guess just having perspective is the main thing that I think that I just have. I think that I'm learning, and what I learned from living in the South is just be accepting of people, and I'm not the best at not judging people, but just be accepting of people's differences and just